Previously on the 9-month cruise, passengers had to be told how to act like adults.
Let's always respect each other.
But passengers still decided to act like spoiled children.
I've always said that people can only hide their true colors for so long.
And we witnessed a monumental moment as the ship finally reached the destination.
We are finally tendering, y'all.
Now let's see what happens on today's bonus episode of the 9-month cruise.
Right, so we have another episode of the 9-month cruise, or at least we kind of have another episode of the 9-month cruise. Because you see, instead of classing this as episode 9 of the series that we've got going on, I want to class this as episode 8.5. Because in today's video, we are just going to be talking about one specific video that was uploaded by a passenger, and it's a long video, like it's 11 minutes long, and it goes through a lot of details that we haven't heard yet, but it is still just one video. So I feel like we should look at this the same way as when you used to buy DVDs, and because you bought the DVD, you would get some like extended features, you know, you get some like deleted scenes. That's what this is. But before we get into the deleted scenes, I'm gonna do that annoying thing again because we are trying to reach 500,000 subscribers, and I think we're about 30,000 away, and I think we're averaging about 13,000 subscribers a month, meaning if we did really push for the subscribers, we could potentially get there in like a month or two. So if you do want to help out, that would be bloody lovely. But either way, let me add some context to the video today, because today we are talking about a TikToker called Nadine Bauer, who was a passenger on the cruise that we've spoke about quite a few times. In fact, she was actually the person who broke the news about the first fight that happened on the cruise, and notice how I'm saying first fight? That's a bit of a spoiler. Well, she has now actually left the cruise because she was a segmenter. She wasn't a Ultimate World Cruiser, so she wasn't treated like royalty like the others. But because she's left, she's now given a full review of the ship, and she had a lot to say.
This is probably more a message for Royal. And Royal, if you are watching this and you want to get in touch with me and have a proper conversation, I'm happy to do so. In fact, I've tried a couple of times to give you feedback. And the first time I tried to give you feedback, I was told, head office only cares about the world cruises. You're not what they're looking for. That was verbatim.
Wait, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to picture how that conversation happens. I mean, she says it verbatim, but it's really hard to believe that that would be words that would come out of somebody's mouth.
Well, you see, the head office only cares about the Ultimate World Cruises. You're just a little peasant segmenter.
Okay, that really wasn't verbatim, but you get the point, right? It's still just a very weird thing to say. And it might be true, I don't doubt for a second it's true, right? The head office definitely will care more about the Ultimate World Cruises' opinions than the segmenters. They will care more about the people spending the most money. That's why the Pinnacle members get treated like royalty. But just to say that to somebody, basically telling them that their opinion doesn't matter, I mean, at least they're honest.
And what makes me sad is I don't think you want my business. You gave a shit first impression, and I'm kind of left going, headquarters, not the ship crew, but HQ. I don't know if you haven't convinced me that you want me.
I mean, they should want everyone they can get at this point because they literally didn't sell out over 1,000 tickets. So regardless if you're just a little segmenter, that's still better than not buying a ticket. Like a lot of people didn't. But look, we have seen the amount of money that some of these Pinnacle members are spending. I mean, Adita told us that someone had spent like $760,000 on their room, which is ridiculous. But of course, when someone spends that amount of money, the Ultimate World Cruise are going to care more about them. But that's not really a surprise at this point. But after all, like, the negative press that this cruise has got, you would think that they would be going, like, above and beyond to try and, like, look out for everyone and make sure everyone's opinion matters. But it genuinely seems like they don't give a shit.
Before getting on this ship, I had never cruised with you. I wasn't part of Crown and Anchor. That meant I didn't get half the emails. I'm also not American, and you don't have travel agents and easy access for me to get information either. You deliberately made decisions to have webinars and sessions with world cruisers, but you left segmenters like me out. I didn't even know I could have brought a friend on for just one of the mini segments, right? You didn't tell me this. You missed opportunities to upsell in so many different ways.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a bit of a theme, right? One of the first things we spoke about with this cruise was the fact that segmenters are just being left out of everything. Like, people who hadn't paid for the Ultimate World Cruise weren't allowed in certain Facebook groups where they're organising, like, things to do on the ship. And straight away, that is going to cause such a bad energy. I mean, it's not much of a surprise that there was a divide between passengers when certain people are allowed in a Facebook group and some aren't. They were organising things for the Northern Lights, but if you were a segmenter, you just weren't allowed to know about it. And I get it, right? If you spend more money, you're going to get like different privileges because that's what you're paying for. But stuff like plans for the Northern Lights or just any plans in general should be for everyone on the ship. Like, everyone has spent a ridiculous amount of money to be on there. It's no secret that it's very, very overpriced, or at least it seems like it to me. I mean, some people are paying 6 figures to be on a cruise. Sounds a bit insane. Like, yeah, give the Pinnacle members an extra suite. Who cares about that? But the actual experiences when you're traveling the world should be a group thing for everybody, and it seems like it wasn't.
The other thing is, the reason why I don't think you want me is because I have a job. If I come back on your ships, there's only so many holidays in the year. I need to be able to work. There is no space on board for me to work. There's no quiet space to study and do other things, apart from your cabin. But most people don't travel solo. Most people have somebody else in the cabin with them, which means if you're both working, you can't do conference calls at the same time. You can't schedule. You need an environment where people can go and connect with the world digitally. Your internet is fantastic. I could work.
Oh, the internet is fantastic, is it? I'm not gonna lie, that was kind of one of my biggest fears about going on the ship. Because even though I would only go on for like a couple of days realistically, I'd still want to upload videos whilst I'm there, and I didn't know how the Wi-Fi would be. Apparently it's quite good. That's decent to know.
The final reason why I think you don't want my business is because you have different finance rules for different people. Now, I understand. If you're loyal to a company, you're going to get a discount. You're going to get other things. That's how business works. No one pays the same price for anything when it comes to travel and airlines and hotels and everything. I understand all of that. What I don't understand, though, is as a solo traveller, I had to pay for 2 people in the room. I understand that. But why did I have to pay for 2 people's gratuities, 2 people's laundry? But the one that makes me really sad is 2 people's drinks packages. It is physically impossible for me to drink 2 people's worth of drinks.
Yeah, so we've heard about this from Mark Sebastian, right? If you're a solo traveller, you have to pay for 2 people's worth of everything, it seems. Which sounds absolutely mental, but the fact that this cruise is a bit of a rip-off also isn't much of a surprise. Like, yeah, your room might be a bit more expensive because you're not splitting it between another person. Maybe just have like one price for a room. For a specific type of room, at least. Have the price for the room. If it's 2 people that are living there, they can split it. If it's 1 person, obviously they're paying double. But drinks packages, laundry, all that shite, like, why would you have to pay for 2 people's? I don't get it. I mean, they really are just trying to get their hands on any amount of money they can, right? Because again, they didn't sell all the tickets out. There's some rumors going around that the only reason they're doing this cruise in the first place is to increase funds for another ship that they're trying to make. And it just seems like it has failed kind of massively.
But then I get on board and find out that if I was platinum and offered the world cruises, the world wonders, which you offer as part of the package for platinum world cruises, if I didn't go to that, you would give me the money back. If I didn't use the business class flight, you'd give me the money back. So why is there one rule for platinum and above world cruises where you're handing back cash to them all the time, but for someone like me, rules don't apply?
Because you're just a little segmenter. What don't you understand?
Nah, obviously I'm joking, but it definitely comes across like that, right? I just don't give a shit about these segmenters, who have still had to pay a stupid amount of money, by the way. I swear the price of the segmenters was still like 15, 20 grand. I know it was still stupid, but Royal Caribbean is literally worth billions and billions of dollars, so clearly they just don't care in the single slightest. And it doesn't even seem like they're trying to hide it at this point.
But finally, I'm going to tell you about why I'm mad. And when I say I'm mad, I am fucking pissed off. Because I signed a contract to say that I would not abuse other guests. But yet, you still have a Pinnacle person in a suite who physically assaulted another guest, but you're not acting on it. And you say you're not acting on it because it happened ashore, but it happened ashore on a Royal Caribbean excursion, and any other time you would act on it. But because this person is Pinnacle and in a suite, you're letting them get away with not only bullying and harassing a family of kids and chasing them around for a whole entire day. And this has been going on not just on that excursion day for weeks, but when someone stood up to him and told him he was being a bully and proceeded to tell him he needed to stop, he then pushed her so much so that she damaged her ankle and sprained it, And you know about all of this because there were 20 witnesses to it. You've interviewed everyone.
Right, so we just got given a lot of information and we're about to hear a lot more here, hence why I've paused it so we can kind of process what's going on here. But this is separate to the original fight that we spoke about like maybe a couple of weeks ago. This is a separate incident. But this is apparently where a Pinnacle member has been harassing a family with children for a long period of time, and someone has decided to stand up for the family, and they have then proceeded to be pushed by the Pinnacle member and damage their ankle. But the thing is here, it didn't happen technically on the ship, it happened when they had reached a destination, so now Royal Caribbean are deciding to do nothing about it. Even though it involves 2 passengers on their ship, it happens on an excursion with their ship, but they're not going to do it because it technically didn't happen whilst they're on the ship. I mean, that makes zero sense. And what Nadine is saying here is that she believes the reason why this person's getting away with it is because they are Pinnacle and they've paid for a suite. When on the other hand, if it was maybe a segmenter who did this, there's probably a good chance that they would be kicked off. I mean, I've mentioned before that I don't know much about cruises. That is true. But one thing I've always been aware of with cruises, to the best of my knowledge, is that they have a very strict policy against violence. And I'm pretty sure that if you are violent towards another passenger, you're gone. But apparently not on this one. You know, they do things different on the Ultimate World Cruise. No, they need to keep their money realistically, right? They can't afford to potentially have to refund someone who has paid for a suite. They're a Pinnacle member. So instead of kicking them off, they'll just be like, oh, we'll sort it, right? We'll speak to them and we'll watch them closely, but they're gonna have to stay. Like, do you not know we're talking about a Pinnacle member here? And you want them kicked off? Don't be daft. Yeah, this whole cruise makes zero fucking sense. And remember, we're only like 2 months in. We have another 7 months of this. Like, what's going to happen in the future? In fact, just a few days ago, a whole new bunch of guests have now went on the cruise, right? So there's kind of like a whole new cast for season 2. And if season 1 told us anything, there is bound to be some people in season 2 who are going to cause some issues. But we'll see how it goes.
It is not okay. You keep on defending people for complete intolerable behavior, and this minority group of people it's got so toxic that everyone knows who they are. No one wants to be around them, and there isn't that many of them, but there is enough that you can't just keep turning a blind eye.
Okay, so apparently there's just like this notorious group on the cruise that are just horrible people and they're treating others awfully. And I mean, that really doesn't surprise me, right? It's a group of people that are probably egging each other on as if they're in fucking high school to try and like show off and belittle people. That doesn't surprise me. I would be very interested to know if this specific group have been involved in any of the other bits of drama that we've covered so far. I'm sure they have been, right? They've been involved in some, you'd imagine. But I would be interested to know which ones specifically, right? What have they been doing?
I would say that I have learned in the last 2 months that cruising is my jam. I do love the idea of doing cruises where the itineraries are epic journeys. You're probably not going to see me bobbing around the Caribbean like some cruises are, but big adventures, world cruises, interesting itineraries. It's a wonderful way to travel as a solo. Don't know if Royal is my line though. You do need to evolve, and if you want people like my demographic, we need to be able to work on board. We want interesting itineraries.
Right, so yeah, I mean, she ends the video saying that she does like cruising. She wants to carry on doing it, but just not with Royal Caribbean. Yeah, this whole 9-month cruise has been a disaster, hasn't it? We're nowhere near halfway through yet, and it's went so badly. All we've heard really is negative reviews, and it seems like most people are saying, like, look, the idea of cruising is good. I'm having good days on the cruise. I enjoy going to different places. But there's just so much bad stuff that's happening on top of that it's ruining the experience. And like I mentioned, this is becoming like a frequent complaint. And it's given Royal Caribbean a bit of a bad rep here, but I mean, I'm sure they'll be fine, right? They're worth billions. I think once a company is worth billions, they don't really care, right? Because at the end of the day, the company's not going to go to shit. They're not going to be bankrupt. Well, I mean, they definitely could go bankrupt, but not from this, right? This negative press isn't going to cause enough to the point where people are going to stop going on the cruise, right? They're always going to have passengers. But this specific 9-month cruise that they're doing, it seems like it's completely unorganized and they don't really care and they're prioritizing certain people. And it just feels wrong. The way they're doing it just feels wrong.
But to get my business, you need to stop this lip service to L&D. Like, you need to walk the talk, and that means you need to actually be an ally to minority groups. And the fact that people don't want to say they're a Pinnacle when they get to Pinnacle status tells me you need to address this culture. that you've got with your high status people.
I mean, that would be me, right? If I became a Pinnacle member after hearing everything that I've heard, I wouldn't want anyone to know that I was a Pinnacle member. That badge would be locked in a safe, and if someone mentioned, oh, I heard you're a Pinnacle, I'd be like, what? Pinnacle? What's that? Yeah, you would never see me bragging about that. I would be doing the complete opposite, whilst still enjoying my drinks in the executive lounge, but I wouldn't tell anyone about it. But yeah, either way, that has been episode 8.5 of the Ultimate World Cruise. I hope you did enjoy the deleted scenes. And yeah, if you did, please leave a like on it, subscribe if you are new, let me know your opinions in the comment section down below, and until the next one, I'll see you guys in a bit, alright? Goodbye.